Hi everybody, welcome back to Chapter 9. Today we're going to work on Section 9-6, which is adding and subtracting with fraction number lines. Not overly difficult. We did a really nice job today in class, so I'm going to show you 3 different examples of what we did today in class. First, I've taken the liberty of breaking my number lines up into fractions. Remember, when we do a fraction number line, we're zooming in on a very, very small section of a regular number line. In this case, I zoomed in to the number line between 0 and 1 whole. So I'm talking about a very small section of the number line. I've broken my number line into 7 equal pieces, so it's broken into sevenths. What I have here is an example of how to add using the fraction number line. We started with a dot at 1/7. Easy enough. And I finished at 6/7. That's going to be my sum. That's going to be my final answer. 1/7 plus something equals 6/7. Well, how can I do the math to figure out how I went from 1/7 to 6/7? Easy. I'm going to play my little hop. So I'm going to go from 1/7 and count how many sevenths it's going to take me to hop to 6/7. So I'm at 1/7. It's going to take me 1/7, 2/7, 3/7, 4/7. It's going to take me 5/7 to get to my final destination. And since I moved to a bigger number, I went from towards the 0 to the whole number 1, I'm going to add. So it took me 5 hops to get to 6/7. Double check yourself. 1/7 plus 5/7 does in fact equal my final destination of 6/7. Pretty simple, not too bad. My second example is going to be a subtraction example. Again, I've broken my fraction number line, this time, into tenths, so that there are 10 equal pieces between the whole numbers of 0 and 1. In this case, I'm starting my dot at 8/10, and I'm moving from the whole number 1 backwards towards 0. That's what's telling me I'm going to subtract, because I'm moving from the right to the left. So 8/10 minus something, and I'm going to get to my final destination of 3/10. So 8/10 minus something is going to equal 3/10. Again, figure this out by doing your few little hops. Start at 8/10 and count how many tenths it's going to take you until you get to the final destination. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10 until I get to that final destination. 8/10 minus my 5/10 equals 3/10. So that's how to use a regular fraction line between 0 and 1 to add and subtract. Now, what if we have problems that contain improper fractions? No problem. What you do here, I have an example of a number line that's not zoomed in quite as far as these two were. These two were zoomed in to show between 0 and the whole number 1. This one we actually zoomed out a little to show between 0 and the whole number of 3. So what we have here is a fraction number line broken into thirds. So I started with 1/3, 2/3, and then as we know, 1 whole equals 3/3. You just simply continue numbering using the improper fractions. So the next third will be 4/3, then 5/3. The whole number 2 is 6/3. Then 7/3, 8/3, and the whole number 3 is 9/3. Notice, my numerator continues to go up by 1 every time, but my denominator stays the same because I'm keeping the number line broken into thirds. in between each whole number. So for this example, I started at 2/3, and I'm moving from my lower whole numbers, in this case it will be between 0 and 1, to get to higher whole numbers. So I'm going to add. I'm moving from the left this time to the right. I started at 2/3. I know I'm adding because I'm moving to the right, and I'm finishing. My final destination is going to equal 7/3 because that's where my arrow is pointing. I need to know how many jumps of thirds I made to go from 2/3 to 7/3. So I put my pencil 2/3, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3. I jumped 5/3. Yes, it is an improper fraction, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, that's not a problem this time. Next week, we're going to learn how to add or to change these improper fractions into mixed numbers. So I went from 2/3 and I added 5/3 to it for a final destination of 7/3. You would do the same thing if this were a subtraction problem. You would just be moving this time from the right backwards to the left. I hope this helps you add and subtract with fraction number lines. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you soon.